You're in Canada, right?
Yeah, I'm in Toronto. I'm here with
Cool.
Juri of Fire Action to talk about Until the Heat Dies, out November 29th on Steamhammer, the band's debut record. How's it going?
It's going great. Lots of interviews and lots of buzz, lots of things happening all the time. Very good.
That's what you want when you're releasing a new record.
I think so. I've been releasing all kinds of self-financed stuff and small label stuff. So now it's something more is happening now. I think.
So let me start off by asking you this. You guys released several EPs before releasing now this full-length record. How was the road for you guys to get from where you started to where you currently are now?
You mean how did we end up in this situation?
Yeah, how's it been for the band from those early beginnings, releasing those EPs and now finally releasing a full-length record?
Yes, we did lots of EPs and singles, and then we actually we made plenty of music videos on our own in the early days. So I thought that I had this image idea of fire action, this firefighter thing, and all kinds of. I wanted to develop it to the perfections before releasing anything big. So we tried with EPs and stuff. We have some different ideas on different EPs, and then we thought that the pandemic hit. We stopped touring and playing live. Nothing happened for a month. So I decided that now we make a best album we can ever make, and then we tried to get a mainstream deal for that album, and actually it succeeded. We did the album, and then I was in touch with lots of record labels, but the best one of them was, of course, the Steamhammer SPV, because Germany is the metal capital of Europe, and SPV is one of the most legendary labels there. So I think it was easy to choose.
I don't know if Germany is the metal capital of Europe. I think where you're currently living in Finland, that is the metal capital of Europe.
Well, maybe, but maybe this big hair metal capital Germany is more, because here in Finland there's a really active metal scene here in Finland, but I think it's either operatic power metal or really brutal stuff. So this fire action stuff is no longer so popular in Finland, but I hope we can make some comeback for that style also.
That I agree with you. I agree with you. I think the sound of the band definitely fits more with the German audience. There's a lot of bands that have that same style. Axel Rudy Pell, amongst many others, Scorpions. I mean, the list goes on and on of German bands that have that same sort of sound and approach. So I agree with you on that. I feel like in Finland there's still a huge power metal, symphonic metal, melodic death metal, doom metal. All of those genres have a lot more
Yes,
attention than the more classic heavy metal sound. You said that you found that partnership with Steamhammer. So when you approached them, did you already have the album completed, or did you approach them with some ideas and then you developed the record?
I had everything ready. I had even the video manuscript ready and stuff. I had planned everything. So before I contact, because I think that it needs to be a ready package, and then somebody would pay attention to it. There's probably plenty of artists around with lots of ideas, but I used to be also back in the day. I had ideas, but I didn't have anything to hit on the table. So you know what I mean.
What are some of the challenges that you faced putting this debut record together? Was it a difficult process for you? Was it easy for you? How was it building this album from nothing?
It was actually much more easier than the previous one, because I'm in really good terms with my producer Panu Pentikäinen, who did almost everything, and I'm very grateful to him of all he has done. So we had really good partnership with him, and we had some. I don't know. The pandemic era was somehow creative, at least for me. I had lots of ideas that turned out to be the songs I was really satisfied with. So it was not so difficult.
Where did the idea for the theme of the band come from? Are you a firefighter?
No, no, I'm not. But I know one here in Helsinki, and I ended up in something like 10 years ago. I ended up in a fire station museum in Helsinki. I didn't know it exists, and I chat with the guy who took care of it, and he gave me around, and there was lots of these old fire engines and all the stuff. I thought it looked really cool, red color and all these things that are associated with firefighting, the history, and even the American fire engines. They are really cool, polished things, and they look really cool. So I thought that that would be a good image for the band. And then I was in New Zealand, and then I was in the hotel, and there was this safety sign on the hotel door that says fire action. It means what you have to do in case of fire. You go to you don't use elevators and stuff like that. And fire action, I thought that's pretty good name for the metal band.
Well, I've been to Helsinki many times. I had no idea you guys had a firefighter museum.
Yeah. You should. My friend is the host of that museum, and because with the help of him, we have been able to shoot our music videos in the places where there's vintage fire engines around.
Oh,
So
nice.
I recommend that you visit the museum. I can email you afterwards and give the instructions. So next time you're in Helsinki, we can go there together.
Yeah,
But
that would be a.
my friend is a really a talker. He can talk endlessly. He can talk hours and hours. So beware, it's not gonna be a quick visit.
I was just there. I was just in Helsinki this past summer. I did visit
Oh,
the Bodum bar and went to the Beaver bar and hang out downtown Helsinki. But honestly, I had no idea that was a firefighter museum. That sounds really interesting.
next time you come, please drop me a message before that we go there. And Beaver Bar is actually a nice place. It's not far from where I live.
Yeah, every time I go there, I have to go there at least once.
Yes.
It's like a pilgrimage. I have to go there at least once. For those that haven't heard the band by now, of us talking, they figured out that you guys have this classic heavy metal sound. But if you had to describe the sound of the band on this record to somebody who's never heard a song, how would you describe it?
Well, I think there is plenty of metal and hard rock bands, new bands around that have this somehow this 80s image and 80s style and 80s melodies. There's really good ones around. I think the way I think we try to stand out is that we intend to sound like real 80s or early 90s metal without being labeled as aged, if you know what I mean. I want the riffs and pieces to be on places, not just the catchy melodies and chorus. They have to happen in the playing all the time. And there's happened so much in my riff playing that I tend to forget what I'm supposed to play next. But yes, and then I think that is the way to stand out. At least I try to stand out. Of course, there's plenty of uh, talented bands around, so it's never easy.
It's funny that you say that because when I was listening to the record, I had that same experience. It's like you guys sound like a band from that era, like 80s, very early 90s. Bands like Europe, Scorpions, that kind of sound, almost like an arena rock sound. But it didn't sound necessarily dated. It still had modern touches to it. And I felt like a lot of that was really coming from the production behind the album that really allowed the album to have a foot in the past, but also have a foot in the present. You mentioned a little bit about that production. How long have you guys been working together?
Actually, the guy, the Panu Pentikainen, the producer, we met when we made some of our early EPs. We just booked a studio and went there, put the drum set up and started to play. And he was really nice and intelligent guy, and he had good ideas even in the early stages. So we started to hang out together and talk talk about the music. And he's also a guy. he has his own band called Darkness is My Canvas. It's something like Muse meets some darker metal, and he is genius making the arrangements. They are so very, very difficult and complicated, but still catchy. And I respect that very much because it's nice that it's not just catchy. There's something else too.
As a guitar player, how you define yourself? What kind of style of a guitar player are you?
What kind of I am? You mean what my influences or
Yeah,
something deeper?
if you wanna explain it through that, like, yeah, who are some of your biggest influences?
Well, I like very much George Lynch of Dokken. I think uh, Dokken was the 80s. Dokken was very great band because it was also a great melodies, but there was happening in the playing, and I think his solos were some kind of an compositions inside a composition, if you know what I mean. I'm terrible. I suck at improvising, so when I do solos, I compose them all, and I think a lot that this could be like this, and this could be there could be a harmony. This could go like this, and I think it's it's interesting to have lots of different style in one solo. It makes it interesting, but of course I'm not technically a Steve Vai or anybody else like that, but I try my best. So that and another one in Rat, I think the Warren DeMartin is really cool player in Rat, and then I also like the a bit heavier and trashier stuff. Megadeth, those solos and riffs, they are like genius one. And King Diamond is another favorite of mine from the 80s King Diamond. I think there was really blistering leads and cool riffs and stuff. It was something completely unique.
Are you more of a riff guy or a solo guy?
I have to be both because there's no other guitar players in Fire Action.
But do you have one side of the guitar playing that you prefer? Do you prefer to work on the solos or do you prefer to be creative with the riffs?
I think it's 50-50 because I if I have to play only power chords, I fall asleep and get bored. I have to play a lot. So if I have to play both riffs and solos, I really have to play a lot. The only problem is my memory. I don't always remember what is coming next.
We mentioned the Finnish landscape. I feel like everybody that I meet in Finland is at least in three bands. So there's a lot of bands per capita in Finland. Obviously, the sound of Fire Action helps sets you guys apart. You guys have a more unique presence and sound. But is it difficult to carve your own place in when you're in a country that has so much metal music?
Yeah, I think it is. We got more press and more coverage in Central Europe, in Germany, in Netherlands, and play in obviously in Canada, in UK, even in United States, but not so much in Finland so far. But let's see when the album comes out. Maybe it changes. But like we talked earlier, it's more brutal or more symphonic that is the mainstream in Finland at the moment.
So the last question I have for you is, what are your plans? So the album comes out November 29th on Steamhammer. We're towards the end of the year. Do you have any plans for following the release of the album for this year, for next year?
You mean another album?
No, I mean like touring shows.
Oh yeah, we would love to tour whole the globe. Would love to come to Canada and Australia and New Zealand, wherever. But of course, it's not probably possible because touring is really expensive. So let's see if the album does well. Maybe the label have some plans where we should go. But now we have booked our own gigs after the release. We're in up north, close to North Pole. We're in Oulu and
Oh,
Rovaniemi, December playing. It's gonna be like hard days and very long nights in North Pole.
are you playing part of a festival or are you just playing some shows there in Oulu?
We played two. We start with the two shows in Oulu and Rovaniemi, and there has been talk about the festivals, but nothing is certain yet. But of course, it would be I'd love to play gain more to play to bigger audiences. So maybe somebody would like Fire Action too. It would be great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of festivals coming up next summer. You got Dark River Festival in Kotka, you got Helsinki Metal Fest, you got Sari Helveti in Tampere, you got Q-Stock in Oulu. There's lots of
Yes.
festivals to be had.
Are you coming to Finland?
I was there this summer, so I'm not right now. I'm not 100% sure, but I might be coming to if not next year, the year after. I try to come and visit every other year at the very least, and attend different festivals. I'm a big fan of Finnish metal, so I try to come back as often as I can.
Yeah, would be great to meet.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. If I'm in town, you're gonna hear about it. I want
Yeah,
a guided
that's
tour
great.
to that fire truck museum.
Yeah, I take you there. And actually, I was in a Canadian metal show less than a month ago when Anvil was playing in Helsinki.
Oh, wow.
I had never seen them before. It was really entertaining show. Really entertaining stuff.
Well, I found your record extremely pleasant to listen to. Like I said, I love the fact that it has that old school vibe that I grew up listening to in the 80s, early 90s, but it still sounds modern enough that it's not dated. So I love the fact that you guys were able to balance that out, and you guys have a fantastic vocalist. Let me just say that.
Yeah, he is really one of the even not if not even the best in Finland, but at least one of the best. He has a really good voice. I think it's important in this kind of music that the singer is
Very
top
important,
notch.
very important, and he's phenomenal at it. Thank you very much for your time. So we'll stay in touch, and if I'm coming to Finland, I'll be knocking on your door.
Thank you very much and have a nice evening. Actually, what hour it is there now?
Here's 2 in the afternoon. For you, it's evening for sure.
It's evening. It's pitch black outside.
It gets dark there really soon. I know.
Yes,
Canadian weather
yeah.
is very similar. Around 4:30 in the afternoon, it feels like it's midnight. We have a lot of things in common: weather, hockey, all of that
Yeah,
great
the
stuff.
hockey, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my good friend lives in Vancouver. He's also a really talented guitar player.
Oh, you have friends in Vancouver. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right. Pleasure meeting you. Pleasure talking to you. All the best
Really
with the
nice.
release on November 29th on Steamhammer, Until the Heat Dies, Fire Action, their debut record. And I hope to see you at some time soon.
Yeah, all the best.
All the
Take
best.
care.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.